Hi there, Joka here from A Pocket Full of Happiness, and in this video I'm going to show you one of the new die sets that's available. This is called Silly Owl Cat, and it's called that way because you can create both an owl or a cat with the same dies. Actually, it started out as an owl set, but then I realized that I don't know, it just reminded me of a cat as well, and then so I added some pieces that make it possible to create a cat as well. So I'm showing you here how I put these critters together, and as you can see I always use several layers of each piece, because I use a color layer and a white layer because I like them to be sturdy. And what you just saw, I'm using some kind of eraser. This one, it's really ugly, but it works really well for removing sticky stuff, glue and stuff like that, because I realized that using, while it's actually a really practical thing, using press and seal, often it makes my surfaces sticky. So if I use this glue, it doesn't damage my paper, and it also removes that stickiness, so it's perfect. And okay, so there's a bunch of eyes, so a bunch of circles, a bunch of ovals that you can create the eyes with, and I'm just going to show you a couple of examples here. Now, what I was also showing earlier is the whiskers, which were whiskers for the cat, but I'm actually going to be using them for the owl here to make it look a little bit more serious or grumpy, you know, or smart. And yeah, you can see how many colors I used for the eyes, how many different layers, and again, even for that little tiny beak, I used, even now you can see that I'm using even more than 2 layers, I believe 4, because I wanted it to be more dimensional than the eyes, and the eyes are already have so many layers, so I wanted to make sure the beak is a bit more dimensional. And then I'm also attaching 2 of each whiskers, that it's a bit sturdier because the black paper is not very thick, so, and I want it to not get damaged when I glue it down. Then so the body is ready, and then I'm going to continue with the wings, and I created this fun striped wing, but there's the bottom piece so that it's easy to assemble this striped version, but you can also just use that one for the wings. You don't need to create stripes if you don't want to, but I always think the more color I can add, the better, so that's why often you have so many small pieces in my die sets. Okay, so I just went with a black and cream color combo here, and in fact I created these sort of monochromatic owls because I wanted these to be masculine cards, but I think they would be so cute from different rainbow colors, you know, or all monochromatic, but then each one had a different color, you know, like green tones, pink tones, yellow. It would be so nice. Now I'm sorry that I didn't make that. Okay, so you can place the wings in so many different ways, but I am going to add them on top, like she's covering her body, but you could add them to the back and, you know, just move them around, just play with them. You could also just use one on another card. I will just use one wing. And for the cat, there's this additional die which cuts the tail, and I have a little, like a nose mouth piece, and I think that's about it for the difference. Oh no, the belly is different because I created like a little heart patterned belly, and I will add a few of the hearts in white, but not all of them. That would also be cute if you used all kinds of colors, but these are tiny pieces, so you definitely need tweezers, or at least I cannot even imagine working with my fingers. Honestly, I don't think I've ever done it. I only ever work with tweezers. So I just place those little hearts randomly on all of them. And then the eyes I create a little bit different, but again, this is something, there's a lot of small dies that you can use for the eyes, and then you could just go with whatever version you like. If you want smaller eyes, you can do that. There's a lot of options here. And I wanted them to make silly faces, so that's why I added those eyeballs, like, you know, like it has crossed eyes. Okay, but it could also have, you know, like rolling, an eye rolling face. That would be, well, actually now it looks like that, like rolling the eyes. That would be very typical of me, my son would say, I think. Yeah, and then I will attach the whiskers, and on top of the whiskers the nose. And you can see that, of course, it's totally not realistic, but I wanted to add a pop of orange. So that's the little piece that I thought should be orange. And then the tail, you can add multiple different ways, just play with it. Now I pulled out an old die, the Geostars background. This is, well, if it's 5x7 backgrounds, but it's not exactly 5x7, but I needed it to be smaller because I'm going to create a slimline card that is 8.5 by 3.5 inches. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to just go with 2 columns of these stars. So I place the die cut again back into the die, and I will cut the other side of that, and I'm hoping for the best that it works out, because I never actually tried this, but the pattern should allow it. And once I took it out of the die, I saw that it's perfect, so it works. And this size is perfect for the slimline card. And then I think I die cut one more of these because I wanted to have some texture in the background. And so you know, one layer, even though this is heavyweight cardstock, one layer I don't feel like it adds enough dimension. So I die cut it again, and then I'll glue these together, but just, you know, I'm not going to glue the whole background because this glue dries so fast, so I'm just adding it into the main or the bigger spaces. And I will kind of line this up to the middle and the top. So at least that's what I seem to remember, because I want to add the sentiment at the bottom. I don't see the bottom of my screen because this recording, the voice recording box is at the bottom of the screen, so I actually don't see what I'm doing. But let me guess. So I will now try to figure out how to place those tails, and I wanted to create 3 different ones, not to repeat the same cat 3 times, just to add a little bit of fun. And then I have to add a bit of foam tape to make up for the difference in the dimension, if that makes sense, because I had to add 2 layers of cardstock behind the cat because of the tail, so I cannot just glue it down that way, otherwise it's not gonna be flush with the surface, and I feel like it's gonna be damaged. Okay, then this was pretty simple, and now I'm going to add my sentiment, which I already pre-cut. This is from the Happy Everything die set, I think. Now another old one is the Peace Circle, because I think that's my only circle die set, and I wanted to create a circular element on one of my cards. This peace sign will not be visible, but I die cut it anyway, just so that I can easily align my circles. So I'm just going from the inside out, and first I will glue down white to easily find where I have to glue down each color later. And also this adds a little bit of weight to it, and it's a lot more sturdy. So originally I wanted to have just this size, actually, not the largest one, but then I saw that it actually still fits on my 5x7 inch card, so the more color I can use, the better. So that's how I ended up with this big circle, and you can see that little critter fits just right in the middle. So on this card I'm actually just going to use that one single owl. And then there is a set in this release called Oh Happy Day, which is just the letters that you can use to create Oh Happy Day. Maybe you can also get creative and create something else from those letters. And then I will align those letters along the circle, just to create a bit of a different design element there. And I will use these letters in black, or maybe it was dark gray, but I think it was black. And I'm trying to decide how to align these, how to create a nice circular sentiment. I mean, it's not perfect, but I think it works. So as you can see, there's a white heavy weight cardstock layer behind the black, again, just so that it's more dimensional and sturdier. And then I just go ahead and use liquid glue to glue these letters into place. And well, again, this is a large card and I have a white background. I guess I could have left it like as it is. I don't hate it, but then somehow it was just, still too much white in the background for me. So I was thinking about adding a sub-sentiment and then maybe some kind of decoration in the background. You could also just have a white textured background, and I think then I probably wouldn't have added everything that I will add, namely enamel dots. I do have the mustard enamel dots that work fine with these yellow papers, and that's what I'm sticking with, just mustard. Sometimes it takes longer to place those enamel dots than create the whole card. Okay, moving on to the next elements for my third card. I created 3 of these owls, and as you can see, 2 of them will have just one wing and the middle one will have both. So I'm trying to make sure that the wings are in the same position, but I mean, I'm just eyeballing it, so probably it doesn't work. Then I'm adding some foam tape to them so they stand out. Then I pull out another old die. This is the Stars and Dots background, another 5 by 7 inch cover plate, and I die cut it. But then I realized that I don't want to cover the whole background with this, so I'm actually trimming off the bottom part. And then I'll go ahead and glue it down onto the card base. But of course, there's a whole lot of different techniques that you can do with it. I'm always just using simple things because I feel like my brain just doesn't go into a mode where I think ahead, you know, so I cannot come up with great ideas like that. So I'm filling in some of these stars that will be visible even after putting the owls on the card. And I noticed, because I wanted to add more color, so I wanted to fill those little holes with color paper, color cardstock. But instead I realized that one of the enamel dots, I think the smallest size, it fits perfectly in there. So here you see I have some die cut circles, but then I quickly changed my mind when I realized that the smallest one fits perfectly. So I pulled out colors that are in the owls and the cards. So it's mustard, peach, and I believe peach. That's it, mustard and peach. I just probably have 2 sheets there because one of them is already almost gone. So I'll glue down the stars as well so that I can start adhering my owls. And I am trying to create a sentiment from the Oh Happy Day sentiment set, but decided to only use the happy letters, and I'm lining them up with the sub-sentiment so that they are centered on my card. And I am placing the letters down kind of in a crooked way, just so that it's more fun, I guess. And then that's it. I wanted to show you this. There's also a happy Halloween sentiment in the Happy Everything set, which I think would work perfectly with this color combo. I cannot even talk anymore. And also with the stripes and the owl, I think. Yeah, that's it for the 3 cards. I hope I could give you some ideas with this set. I hope you like it as much as I loved working with it. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.